Ferrari has always been a company of two halves. The first half is responsible for sculpting some of the most desirable machines ever produced by man. Like for example this 250 GTO, which is erotically beautiful. But then there's the second half that uses the illustrious appeal of the Ferrari name and slathers it over a bunch of tacky clothes and perfume, you know, the kind of clothes that appeals to swingers and Miami nightclub owners. And it's this much worse second half which, in collaboration with Acer of all companies, made a line of Ferrari branded laptops. Now I bought one of these laptops and let me tell you, by the end of this video I really hate that damn thing, but before we get into that, it's time for a word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Linode, a company that's been awarded by me as having the best name to say. Just give it a try. Linode. It feels good, doesn't it? Linode is a Linux-based cloud computing and web hosting service that offers multiple products to manage cloud storage, websites, databases, game servers, Kubernetes, and they can even handle whatever computational load you can imagine. And regardless of what service you decide to go with, you will get access to award-winning customer support. If all of this sounds good to you, sign up to Linode using the link in my description below to get a 60-day $100 free credit. Thank you Linode for sponsoring today's video. This looks a bit like the kind of box you'd post someone a severed head in. Oh, that is a limp box with what seems to be a recycling bin inside it. It comes with a graduate thesis of an owner's manual, and then a DVD with the recovery disc on it. A USB to something cable. Okay, more garbage. This, I think, is the charging brick. Oh, look at that cute little power brick. And then this, oh, I assume is the laptop. That's all just packing garbage. So let's let's get the packing garbage out the way. Oh. Ooh, whoa, that looks better than I was expecting. The first thing that you notice, in the same way that you did with the Lamborghini laptop, is just the quality of this paint finish on the top. That is some deep, glossy black action we've got going on here, with some nicely laid in carbon fiber effect. And then we have this enamel Ferrari logo as a beacon to other prospective swingers. And then also on the lid we have this, which is like a rotatable webcam, which is awesome. I've never seen that before. Now at this point I started looking at the I/O of the laptop, which immediately got me confused because I couldn't identify any of it. Wait, what port is that? So I headed over to the manual, which raised more questions. What is a 124-pin Acer eSdock connector? Even Googling it didn't initially help. Wait, that's definitely not right. But eventually I figured out that it was basically just a dongle connector that gives you access to more ancient I/O. And then I completely lost interest in the I/O and decided to move on. Now turning around the laptop, I am immediately significantly more excited about it, because look, it's got multiple glory holes on the back. Now we're gonna open those glory holes and dig around in them a bit later in the video, but I am very excited to see those. You open up the laptop. Ooh, this is not a new laptop. I think the first thing that gives that away is the Vista logo. There's also some 256 meg ATI branding with AMD Turion 64X2. Hell yeah. And then another thing aside from all of that that really dates the laptop is the fact that the trackpad is relationship ruiningly tiny, and it's got a little joypad. I don't really want to touch any of it though, because it is pretty disgusting. I'm just so excited about this. Let's start off with this one, a nice big glory hole. Hey, look at how easy that was. Just like that, we've got access to the hard drive. Let's do another one. Oh, and there we have some dusty RAM. Ew. We've got some PC2 5300, so that is DDR2, which is, it's not that old. And then we've still got another one up here, which says it contains a transmitter. Oops. But nice, there we go. We've got our Wi-Fi module, I assume is what that is, and our Bluetooth. And then we can also do this, and it pops out the battery. This doesn't look like the original battery that came with the laptop, but it would have been super easy to replace once the original one died. So it's just awesome. So now let's jump into the future after we've done the testing and do a more thorough teardown of the laptop. I have finished testing the laptop and I can't wait to potentially break it during this teardown. Now that's the thing with these old laptops. The glory holes give you easier access than modern laptops to like basic upgrade things like RAM, storage, and things like that. However, the moment that you want to get deeper into the laptop, there's a lot more disassembly that needs to happen, like removing the entire display, which is worse. And then there's the other advantage that a modern laptop has over this, in that it isn't a complete and absolute nightmare to use. But we'll get into that later in the video. I would be very surprised if this has ever been disassembled. That all feels quite dry. Whoa, that is very dry thermal paste. Let's have a closer look. There we go. Here is our dual-core little AMD chip with some pins on the back. And then we have our GPU down here, which is an ATI Mobility X1600 with a staggering 256 megs of video memory. And finally, here's the heatsink assembly, which is a cast irony material, and then here is the copper heatsink with the tiny fan and some heat pipes. So with that, I'm gonna reassemble the laptop, but let's go back into the past where we fire up the laptop and we'll find out why I now absolutely despise it. Wait a minute, there is no way this is max brightness. Oh, there we go. So that's max brightness. I think it shows up on camera much better than it does in real life, because that is the worst display I have seen in a very long time. After this first disappointment of many, I decided to dig around Vista a bit to refamiliarize myself with it. I'm not even sure what of this is bloatware and what isn't, but I'm pretty sure my PAL didn't come on it as standard. This was when the main villain of the story reared its ugly head, installing Steam on Vista, which hasn't been supported for a while, but luckily there's a workaround. Now, the workaround is a bit of a faff on the best of days, but on this laptop, the first step, which is just normally starting a Steam install, didn't work, because every time that I tried to start the install, nothing happened. And after spending a while struggling with this, I had a genius idea. Now, this whole Steam business is getting quite frustrating, quite frankly, although I've had an idea. Because if I remember correctly from my days as a youth in a small African country with very limited internet, old games like these come with Steam install files on the disk. So maybe we can start the process of installing the patched Steam that works on Vista from the install file on this game from 2006. I don't know if it's gonna work or if it even has a file on there, but let's give it a try. Okay, so this installation actually launched, right? This may actually work. It didn't. What? Okay, well, let's try and reinstall Windows on it, I guess. I'll use the recovery disk. You know you're in for a long wait when the data rate is measured in megabytes per minute. Yeah, this may take a while. So I'm just gonna go start a family quickly. I'll be back in a couple years. What do you mean? You just spent an hour and a half copying files. How is there more of it? Oh my God, there's another setup process happening. When the installation finally finished, this happened. Okay. This looks like fresh wind. Ah! That actually legitimately scared the shit out of me. No, it's making me watch as it's installing Acer bloatware on the laptop. This is pretty messed up, Acer. And then the waiting started again. I've waited for another hour and it hasn't made any progress. It's not like I have a schedule to keep to or anything. So I've decided, no, do you know what? I'm done. So what's gonna happen now is I made a Windows XP install disk and we'll install that on here and then maybe the world will be a better place. Let's see what happens. Now, of course, the XP installation took ages and setting it up took even longer. But eventually I made some progress. I'm this close to assaulting this laptop with a hammer. I started at 10:30 in the morning. It is now 5 in the afternoon, and we're finally at the point where we can again attempt to install Steam on it. So, wish me luck. If the next cut is just to me savaging this laptop with a hammer, you know that it didn't go very well. But so I hope for its sake that it works, to be honest. Let's see what happens. Oh, thank you. We've gotten past the first step. Okay, that is good. That is very promising. That is good. The fatal error is a good start because what that means is if you go over to my computer, it made a Steam folder, right? So that means that we can copy the patch in and we can hopefully get to a version of Steam that'll let us play games that need Steam. However, I still wasn't out the woods, because after going through the process of installing the patched Steam refused to connect to its servers, and after doing some digging I realized that it's because I needed to do some XP updates, which took another couple hours. Steam's finally installed. It is on here. Yo, I just did the out of some tech stuff because this is like the most hectic tech thing I've done in a very long time, but it's working, which means we'll be able to try and play some games. No, you won't, because despite being able to log into Steam, every time I tried to download a game or install a game off a disc, I was still getting connection errors, and at this point, I was done with Steam. Luckily, I had a backup plan. When I went to the consignment store to go buy Half-Life 2, I also bought Mass Effect, which doesn't use Steam, although it does still use the internet, and after installing the game, I was still getting connection errors despite the fact that the laptop connected to the internet fine. So I gave up and definitely didn't download a crack for Mass Effect so that I could finally play a damn game on this laptop. I can't see anything and we're running at 16 frames per second, so that's that's nice. This is very good. This is probably the most worth it gaming experience I've ever had. Like I think the amount of effort it takes to the reward is extremely justified. Like this is I'm so happy with what's happening here. This is a primo gaming experience right here. Okay, whatever. I'm done. Like I don't even care.